Sedans coming onto the track for the wins. 1996 Australian Super Sedan Championship. You cheer for your favourite driver.
What a great field we've got assembled, Ross. Probably the best field we've seen here at the Wings Motordrome for a long, long time in the Super Sedan division. Some of the best, or if not the best drivers from all over Australia are here tonight to see who can take out this title for 1996. Paul O'Neill, one of the Lismore drivers. They've been pretty strong. They're well represented in the final field. Will it be this man again? Back-to-back titles for Ron Pine. He thinks it can be. Steve Francis, the visiting United States driver, he'll be trying his hardest to take it back to the States. John Brown, another one of the locals. Johnny Leslide, who does fairly well here. Wayne Randall, not Steve, as I said earlier on, the umpire. Wayne Randall, I apologise to Wayne. The RX-7 seems to be running very well for him. He's no doubt had a look at the track and set the car up to conditions he thinks might happen. Alan Baker's out there as well. Peter Logue, the Victorian. Robert Gray, the Western Australian. The Meekatharra Missile, his nickname, in the 95 Trans Am. And a great array of cars too, all different sorts. Even a little RX-7, the rotary of Wayne Randall. Larry Nelson, he's been the quiet achiever, the Queenslander. Big Bad Bert Vosbergen, the West Aussie. The current Queensland champ, Lindsay Hawkins. What a great field. Benny Ludlow, Tanya Peacock, Mick Nicola, Ross Brims and Steve Stewart, the South Australian champion. Well, that looks about the field, and what an impressive field. I'm just thankful I've had the privilege to be here tonight and witness this great spectacle of Super Sedan racing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. A big thank you to Wins for their wonderful support for the presentation of these titles. We're getting them packed up behind the French Brothers Tyres Pace vehicle. Then we'll give them the Speedway salute, the opportunity to thank the fans for being here. We're about to give the Speedway salute, and we're about to fire into the running of the 1996 Wins Australian Super Sedan Championship. There's the cross flags. We're under the Speedway salute. And the fireworks to signal the start of the 1996. The fireworks above the track are happening right now. That's it, ladies and gentlemen, a fireworks start to our 1996 Australian Super Sedan Championships, and they are away. And Steve Francis up on the outside looks for the lead. John Pine on the inside. Who's going to give in? It's going to be a great battle for the first lap. John Pine, Steve Francis. Francis is still going to have a go at him on the outside. Pine on the inside. Francis the outside. They're running side by side for a full lap. John Pine gets the better, and now Steve Francis will tuck in behind. John Brown is running third. Whitson is fourth. The Western Australian Robert Gray is in the fifth. Sixth is Ron Pine. Seventh is Paul O'Neill. Eighth is Wayne Randall. Ninth is John Leslite. And 10th is Alan Baker as they do the first couple of laps of the 1996 Australian Super Sedan Championships. A lot of interest right round the racetrack, but the pace is an absolute cracker in this first couple of laps, with John Pine and Steve Francis really setting up a tremendous pace. They won't be able to keep going like this for 40 laps, surely. It'll be a real attrition on the cars to see who's got the right tyres, see who's got the right setup, because this pace is running, and it is running hot. John Pine down low. Steve Francis is still going to have a go at him up high. There's the first mistake. The Western Australian Robert Gray onto the infield, and the chief steward has said, carry on. The race continues. Bad luck for Robert Gray. He's the first casualty up on the infield after only 5 laps. Still, look at this battle between John Pine and Steve Francis. Francis is persisting with the outside pass. There's the first lot of yellows. And John Pine comes under his first race stoppage. 5 laps were down and the pace was on. Ben Ludlow and the Victorian Michael Nicola, the 2 cars in trouble in turn 4. And Steve Stewart is to go to the rear of the field. The South Australian champ has been sent to the rear. Robert Gray, I assume he could probably rejoin the car race, but he will be down at least 2 laps, maybe even 3. And we've got a single file restart. Tension starts to build up again. They've shaken off all the tension of the first couple of laps, but then it comes back on again, knowing that whatever advantage they established has now been wasted because there's a restart. So attention being shown to Ben Ludlow's car.
I think he's concerned, Ross, with a bit of body work up on the front left-hand tyre.
Right.
Whether it might be rubbing, or he was just a little bit concerned. Got the infield crew to check it out.
Lights are out. And away they go. John Pine, Steve Francis, John Brown. Now they started the race without Ben Ludlow. He's on the infield. He's having a look across to the chief steward, and I don't think he's terribly pleased about the situation at all, Ben Ludlow. They just started the race without him. John Pine, Steve Francis, Stu Robertson's worked his way past John Brown to go into 3rd place. Brown is back to 4th. Then comes Ron Pine. Now Alan Baker's got a problem. He's pulled up high onto the racetrack, and he's dropped right back to last place, and Steve Francis is having a go at John Pine. I tell you what, the American is not going to give John Pine 1 ounce of peace up front. He will not give in on him. And Francis, what a drive he's turning on. He's powering, would you believe, on the outside of John Pine. He's travelling twice the distance. So what power must this car have to stay with John Pine? Well, he's really testing things out at the moment, Francis. He's up very, very high. He might have thrown it away this time. Yes, he has. He's dropped off the pace, and John Pine maintains the lead.
John Pine using some experience too, Ross. He's keeping Francis up high on the track because he knows if Francis gets down low, Francis is going to have a crack at him on the inside. He's just going to make him sit down. Whenever he goes to have a throw on the outside, Piney will push him up high towards the wall and make it very hard for Francis. Stu Robertson into third place. Then we got John Brown, followed by the Aussie champ Ron Pine. Paul O'Neill in car number 35 is back in about sixth spot. Up on the inside they come with a slower car, Alan Baker, who's got trouble. He's only nursing that thing around. Down they come, and they've still got 28 laps to go. John Pine in front, but look at Steve Francis. He's hounding Piney. Piney will keep him trapped out wide. Francis keeps the foot down, tries to get around the outside, but look at Pine. He's too cunning. He's just going to stay there and push him up high and make him work hard, but Francis is working hard, and it's starting to pay off for him. He's getting closer and closer to Pine. What a great battle up front. Stu Robertson will sit there. He'll let these two go at it, hammer and tong. He'll wait to wear themselves out, and then he'll try and make a move. John Pine still got the race lead though. Francis in second spot. Here's Stu Robertson starting to join in the battle. Back in fourth place is Brownie. Robbo gets a look up on the inside. There goes very close up front, these three cars. John Pine still leads. Francis in second spot, throwing everything at him he can, but he just can't find a way through. There's a little bit of a gap on the inside. John Pine will shut him off though quickly. Francis had to go up onto the infield, so a little bit of trouble there for Francis. He got too anxious. He's a little bit anxious at the moment and trying everything he can, but he just can't get around Pine. Stu Robertson's tacked right onto the back as well, so he's going to wait for one of these two to make a mistake. John Brown back in fourth place. Up on the inside goes Stewie Robertson. He's got Francis. Well, Francis drifted off the line, and there's a bit of bodywork in there. Turn 3-4 here. They'll go over the top of it as they come out of the turn, and it'll be interesting to see whether the race continues. But it does, and up front, it's John Pine, Stu Robertson, the local boys, 1 and 2. The local track knowledge is starting to pay off, and Francis has dropped back to third place. John Brown in fourth. Then we got Ron Pine, followed by Paul O'Neill. Then came Wayne Randall back behind them. Johnny Leslight was next. Then came Nelson, the 49 car. Stewart making his way up as well. So they're the top of about a dozen drivers. Coming down with 21 laps to go. John Pine in front. Stu Robertson, look at Stewie go. He's determined to get this Australian title, and geez, wouldn't it be great to see him get it. In second spot, he's starting to hound. There's trouble in back straight away. Tanya Peacock's involved, and Alan Baker, who was, Ross was only, more trouble up in turn 1-2, and it looks like it might be Leslight, Randall and Nelson might be the three in trouble. We've also got trouble with Paul O'Neill, who's thrown sideways, I think, to miss. But Ross, Alan Baker just seemed to be dribbling around the outside.
Yeah, he had problems. He got problems very early, Joel, with about only about 10 laps into the race. Baker had dropped right back to the tail of the field, and I think he was just planning on moving round and round and round the racetrack. But then I think what happened was that he realised it was a heck of a long way to go, 20 laps. I think he tried to come down off the track. I don't know, I didn't see the incident. I'm just listening to officials discussing it. I think he tried to come down off the track and may have collided with Tanya Peacock.
There's fire too, Ross, in the Vosbergen car. The back of that is flames coming out the back.
Bert Vosbergen's car.
Up in turn 1, there's flames at the back, so we want to keep an eye on that. There's definitely flame under the back now. It's starting to rear up. So we need someone over the infield fire crew. The turn 1-2. Vosbergen, the West Australian, has got fire in the back of that car. Right on the spot though. They've extinguished it, so the situation has been nullified. But things starting to heat up, and Ross, things starting to take the toll on some of the cars as well.
Oh, gee, the pace has been a cracker. What about this battle between John Pine and Steve Francis to start off with? I mean, they ran side by side for something like 6, 7, maybe 8 laps. Then Steve Francis still persisted with that outside pass. It didn't work for him. The gamble didn't pay off. He got out too wide. And Stu Robertson made the dive through, and now it's going to be a battle. between John Pine and Stu Robertson. Not far out of the race, John Brown and Ron Pine. So in the top 5 cars, 4 of them are Newcastle drivers. John Pine, Stu Robertson, John Brown and Ron Pine.
Ready for the start. A green light comes on to send them on their way. Single file restart, 22 laps remaining in this 1996 wins Australian Super Sedan Championship. John Pine resumes where he left off up the front of the race. Stu Robertson in second place. He's going to come under some pressure from Francis back in third spot. Then we've got John Brown, Ron Pine next behind them, followed by Paul O'Neill. Then comes John Leslie. Up on the inside goes Francis, and that's the way to pass. On the inside, Stu Robertson comes back at him, but Francis now grabs second spot, and with half race distance gone, John Pine still leads the way.
Steve Francis is running second, then Stu Robertson and John Brown. Ron Pine was the next one through in front of Paul O'Neill, then John Leslight, Larry Nelson. We've got the South Australian Steve Stewart, the other Queenslander, that's Lindsay Hawkins. He's up there in around about the top 10 places of the cars that are left running. Then Ross Brims, Robert Gray and Bert Vosbergen, the only other cars running as we enter into the last half of the car race. Well, the American is back on the pace. Now, is he going to continue with this outside pass? It's unbelievable the way that he's going to continue to try and have a shot at John Pine. He will not give him any peace whatsoever. Steve Francis up on the inside. John Pine, Steve Francis trying to nudge his way through. He can't quite find the space. Pine comes back at him. Francis up on the windrow. Once he gets up there, he loses a lot of pace and he's going to cop a caution flag for getting up on the infield. Stu Robertson running third. John Brown is fourth. Ron Pine, the current Australian champ, he's now trying to use some infield to get through on John Brown, but the track has become very, very hard, very, very rock hard in fact, and so it'll mean someone's got to make a mistake, and you've got to be in a position ready to capitalise as soon as that mistake is made. And nobody at this point of time is making any of those mistakes. Now Steve Stewart's the only one that's made some sort of a passing move. The South Australian champ has got by one, and now we've got Ron Pine also trying to make a bit of a move to come through on the inside of John Brown. So things starting to make a couple of changes back in the pack behind the race leader John Pine. John Pine, Steve Francis, Stu Robertson, they're still 1, 2 and 3. Now the Australian champ, Ron Pine, have a look at him. He's up into 4th place and he's probably going to try and make a real throw at it over the last 10 laps. There's only 12 laps to go now. John Pine, the track has become very hard. All he has to do is keep his cool, and I tell you what, if that happens, the last 100 metres of this car race is going to be something else, because they will make a dive at it for sure. Oh, Ron Pine's gone! Oh, the Australian champ has overcooked it. He was trying really hard, I've got to give him that much. He'd worked his way into 4th place. And he hit it just a little too hard in the corner. He lost it, and the official decision is Australia 1 to the rear. Well, the track has certainly hardened up. And now it will be a matter of who can keep their cool, not make a mistake under pressure. But Steve Francis and John Pine, the battle was split momentarily. Stu Robertson split up the struggle between these two. This has been a terrific battle between the pair. John Pine, the current New South Wales champ. Steve Francis looking to be the first ever international driver to win the title. And Stu Robertson, for a moment, had his opportunity. He got by Steve Francis. and was right behind John Pine, and it looked as if it was going to be a chase between those two. But Stu Robertson saw Steve Francis slip by, and with 11 laps to go, the lights are out. And away they go. John Pine, Steve Francis, then Stu Robertson, followed by John Brown. Then comes Paul O'Neill, John Leslie. The next one through Steve Stewart, the South Australian. He started to make some inroads in this last couple of laps. But with only 10 more laps to go to decide the Australian title, we've got cars running nose to tail, and it's going to be mistake-free racing from here on in if these drivers want to hold their placings. John Pine, Steve Francis, Stu Robertson, then John Brown, Paul O'Neill, John Leslie, the South Australian Steve Stewart. Then comes Lindsay Hawkins, followed by Ross Brims. Larry Nelson's dropped back. Ron Pine is second last, and Robert Gray, the Western Australian's last. And here's Francis having another go at John Pine, but will he throw second placing away? 8 more laps to go.
Well, Stu Robertson, Ross is sitting in third spot. He's going to hope that Francis has another crack on the outside because he's losing a ton of ground. John Pine leads. Second spot, the United States driver, Steve Francis. Then comes Stu Robertson sitting in third. Those three drivers are starting to break away now from John Brown in fourth spot. Then comes Lismore's Paul O'Neill, and also behind him John Leslie. But John Pine, all he's got to do, as Ross said, is keep his head, and he's got this title. Round back straight away he goes. He's only got 5.5 laps left to run, and he can see the Australian title in his sights. He's just taking it nice and steady. He knows Francis is not going to have a go on the outside because he's going to lose too much ground to Pine. And if he does that, Stu Robertson will capitalise and come through on the inside. Now he's trying to use all the track and a little bit more, but he just can't get around. There's the Aussie champ dropping out, Ron Pine. That's the end of his title bid for the second time, and that's bad luck for Ron. But back up front, John Pine still got the race lead. Stu Robertson back in third place. He's going to try and get around Francis if he can. Up the front, there's only 3.5 to go. Piney leads. Can he hang on and make it a local victory? Well, the fans are certainly hoping so. Francis in second spot. Then comes Stu Robertson, who's trying desperately to get up and make it a 1-2, but he just can't get the ground on Francis at the moment. 2.5 laps left to run. They've come down to the last couple of laps. It looks like John Pine's got this title covered. There's 2 laps to go. Francis is in second. He realises it's only going to have to make a throw if he's going to do it, because he's starting to run out of laps, and Pine's pulling away. John Pine starts to pull away. 1 more lap to go in the Australian titles. This could be it for John Pine. He's sticking nice and low. He sees the white flag. Francis is going to have a go at him if he's going to get this first place away from him. Down back straight away for the last time. John Pine. This is going to be his championship. On the outside, Francis. On the inside, Pine. Pine's going to hold on, and let's hear for the new Aussie champ. Local John Pine takes it out. Francis second, then comes Stu Robertson. John Brown was next ahead of Paul O'Neill. Then came Leslie across the line ahead of Stewart. And what a great race. Lindsay Hawkins, the Queensland champ, was next across the line. Then came Ross Brims, it was next, followed by the 49 of Nelson, the 24 of Gray. But the new Australian champion, John Pine, our very own local driver, and boy won't he be happy. He will be very, very happy indeed. A great performance. He started up the front, he held on to the race, and this has been a top effort to hang on and take out this Australian title. Second place, Steve Francis. He gave chase. He chased Piney all the way. He didn't give up trying to get the race away from him. And Stu Robertson, well done to Stu. He really did drive well for third place, and he must be very, very happy indeed with that. And that's a great performance to get 2 of our local drivers up in the top 3 placings. So the 1996 WINS Australian Super Sedan Championship has been run, and it's been won as well by our very own local driver, John Pine. He takes it out, A great effort. John now receiving his congratulations. He's just getting strapped out. There's no doubt that he worked very, very hard behind the wheel. Steve Francis as well, a good effort by Steve. He just couldn't quite reel him in the end. And Stu Robertson, gee, Stu's having a great year. He's finished third and he'll be very, very happy with that, no doubt. He probably would have wanted to grab the win, but third placing when the Australian title's nothing to sneeze at. But we've got some trophy presentations to make, so we'll go down trackside without any further ado and we'll go down to Ross Allen.
Thanks, Joel, and Tony from Wins is here with me. We really do want to thank Wins for their fabulous support, not only for the major sponsorship of the Motordrome for the 95-96 season, but for these particular titles, the Australian Championship titles. The race, well, what a cracker it's been. Joel and I have had the pleasure of being able to call a terrific race. Plenty of action up front all the way, and I suppose a big thrill for us here in Newcastle to have two cars up the front of the race. He's had the opportunity to have a sip and cool down a little bit, so let's take the chance now. Ladies and gentlemen, the current New South Wales champion and now the new Australian champion. Getting a big hug from wife Kerry. John, come on over. I know it's a pretty exciting moment for you. Please accept the sash first of all from Tony from Wins. We thank Wins for their wonderful support. This trophy too on behalf of Wins. My personal congratulations, Cobber. Well done. An Australian title and a New South Wales title. John, it's been a fantastic car race. Well done.
Well, I'd like to thank Wins for putting on a show. Peter, thank Christ he changed the track. You know, in the last 3 weeks we've had the magnificent track. And Steve, he put up a hell of a shot at me, and you know I had to just do everything right. I was actually puffing a bit too much. Ross, the visors kept fogging up. I thought, gee, I got to beat this bloody American. I'll never hear the end of it. But he done a fantastic job. I'd like to congratulate him. He kept me honest, and we done everything right. Thank you for Tetrans. They come on board this year, and this is one present that we wanted to give every sponsor we've got. And there's a lot of them, Ross, and there's a lot of new people coming on board after tonight, and I just hope that they have the success that I've brought to other people, and to win it the second time, I just hope I can do Australia proud and keep on winning while the grey hairs shine, they say, and the sun's wanting to kick me out of the seat already, but I'll tell you what, he's got to wait for a little while.
Okay, I'll talk to you about the race in a moment. I would like to ask Doug Carson, the President of the Australian Saloon Car Federation, to also make the presentation of the championship jacket to you. Sitting on top of John's car is the perpetual trophy that remains with the winner for a period of time until the next championship meeting. It's sitting on top, and I'm sure Doug would like to make that presentation and say a couple of words to you too, John.
Thanks very much. Congratulations, John. Where is he? I've lost him. This is a new trophy we've had this year, made and donated by the Blunden family in South Australia. Chris Blunden run the race in 1984. And over a period of years, the old trophy's got a bit tattered. They said, let's have a new one, a bright, shiny one. And all the winners are going back on this trophy till 1972. I see John Pine's name is there. It's going to be there again this year. Congratulations, John. A fantastic race. And from the ASF, thank you very much.
Thanks, Doug. Just like to say one thing. I've got the best crew, best family, wife, children who support us. And my crew members work hard. I'll tell you what, they're the people behind the scenes. We went back there and we got around the table. What are we going to do? The car was a touch loose. What shall we do? What did we do to change the car? And you know, we come up the trumps, and I'm glad that I got a perfect crew, and thanks very much.
John, I'm sure the fans would like to know just what was going through your mind with Steve Francis just absolutely hounding away at you. I mean, he kept trying that outside pass. Were you happy that that was the way he was trying to do it?
Well, to be honest, you don't see much behind you in these cars, and I've seen the nose a couple of times in a few places, and you know that's real racing. And you know we just had to. Every time we come in the corner, you had to brake at the right spot, turn the car in the right spot, accelerate when you should, and you know a couple of times you get a little bit sideways because you know like it's something you can't explain. It's 100% concentration, and if you don't do that, that's where you come undone.
Mate, you've done it. Go and enjoy it just for a moment with your pit crew. Second place tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I think he deserves a wonderful round of applause. He provided us with a great championship race. From America, ladies and gentlemen, Steve Francis. Steve, the trophy from Tony and the sash I'll hold the trophy while you put the sash and the trophy on behalf of Wins. First of all, thank you for taking part in our Australian title, and secondly, thanks for making it such a great race. It was a beauty.
Well, it was probably one of the best races we've run here. The only other race I can think of that I've run here that was close was the one me and Charlie Swartz run here last year. I come out a little better on that one, a little behind on this one. You got to give John and his crew credit. They done everything they had to do. I kept trying the outside, and there just wasn't enough there. And, you know, he drove the perfect race. He never made a mistake.
Yeah, I guess that was the way we saw it too, Steve. You really did give it everything to try and make that outside pass. It seemed to be the tactic. When you'd given up after a lot of laps trying to make it, the only other way was then to wait for him to make a mistake, and God damn it, he wasn't going to make one.
He just never did. I thought I had him one time. He got a little sideways here, but I couldn't get a nose up in beside him far enough going into the corner, and I had to let him back down or spin him out, and I wasn't going to spin him out to win it.
Good on him, mate. Great sportsmanship. The fans have been wonderfully appreciative of a fantastic Australian championship. Well done.
Well, I'm hoping this will kind of, a show like this will help to get the super sedans back where they need to be in Australia. You know, they've kind of let the sprint cars take over. And, you know, I don't think you could ever seen a better sprint car race than what this super sedan race just was.
Fantastic. Steve Francis, congratulations to you. And ladies and gentlemen, third place. First of all, I'll help you with that trophy, Tony. The sash. Yeah, you just get the sash on first. Then get the kiss from Tony. Now the trophy from me. My congratulations to you too. Third place in the Australian title. An absolutely outstanding effort. Newcastle 1 and 3. Well done.
Yes, Ross. Fantastic effort. Congratulations to John, Steve, and the track preparation. A bit rough, but I think it was a good race. I'd like to thank all my sponsors. Fantastic people for coming. I got that many sponsors, I don't know what to say. But, Bruce Dimmock here, everybody sponsors us. It's been a great race over the weekend. Pity I couldn't have won, but...
Well, just for a moment there, Robbo, I mean, you got by Steve Francis. That was a terrific pass. He started to keep getting a bit wide. You capitalised on the mistakes he made. You certainly did give yourself a shot at it.
Yes, mate, it's a bit black up here on this main straight. I think he got me there. But, well, he's a good driver, good American driver, so I just hope to be here next year.
Well, you will be.
I might pick up one next year.
Good on you. Stewie Robertson, third place tonight. Congratulations. We've got to get everybody together. Newcastle running 1 and 2 and 3. Again, a very... Doug, you're just giving me the provisional placings?
That is official.
That is official. Okay.
And engine check and okay.
Okay, so we've got the all clear. I'll just run through these very quickly for you, ladies and gentlemen. The all clear on the placings in the Australian Super Sedan Championships from the Australian Saloon Car Federation. John Pine, Steve Francis, Stu Robertson, 1, 2 and 3. John Brown, Paul O'Neill, John Leslight, Steve Stewart from South Australia, Lindsay Hawkins from Queensland, Ross Brims, Larry Nelson and Robert Gray. They are the official placings in the championships. Again, a very, very big thank you to Wins and to Tony and your wonderful organisation. Thank them very much for their support. It truly is a wonderful group, the Wins group. Congratulations to Peter Gerbiel, our promoter, his third Australian Super Sedan Championships here at the Motordrome. 4 all up because he did conduct the very first one that was held at Tralee in Canberra back in the early 70s. Ladies and gentlemen, a very big thank you to you and to the boys and girls for being with us tonight, and I think making this Australian Super Sedan Championships one of the memorable races. A terrific finish. John Pine, Steve Francis and Stewie Robertson, 1, 2 and 3. And for you Newcastle fans, as you can hear, we had John Brown in 4th place officially, so in the top 4 cars, 3 Newcastle drivers.